Alrighty, friends and fiends, what's going on? We're gonna do a little stream today. Kind of popping in. I think we're gonna do our World of Darkness stream. So we're gonna pop in and do a little bit more of our playthrough. I guess this is part 4 of the playthrough. Probably, I don't know, maybe like halfway through the game at this point. And we may be a little over halfway. I don't know exactly. Prologues kind of throws things off, but we've met 2 of the 4 people on the note that we got on Callihan's dead body, which is kind of where we're picking up. So I figure we jump back in, we do a little bit more of that, and we'll see how it goes. Just had a little free extra time, and I thought about streaming D&D prep, but I don't actually need to prep for tomorrow, so we'll probably pick up the D&D prep. I do a live stream about D&D prep next week. So, and that'll be over on the main channel if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch, it's the same place. If you're watching over on YouTube, because YouTube's real weird about the type of content that you put on your channel and who they send it to. So I try to split up the video game stuff from D&D stuff. So that's over on Red Ragged Fiend. That's just the name of the channel. You can find it. It's in the description. You can find it. So yeah, there's not really any other preamble. Hopefully you guys' week is going all right. My week's going okay. Could be better. Could be worse. And you know what? That's pretty ambivalent. It's been better than not than not good. It's been pretty good actually. So yeah, we're gonna hop in and do that. Let's go ahead and get going. Oh, let me pop us back up. Perfect. All right, we're on night 7. We'll see. We might play one night, we might play 2. It just kind of depends on. Nights are not very consistent as to what all's going on in them. What to find out when we. Julia Sowinski. We're gonna take our rest. There was the crazy news lady we didn't talk to. Alright, so we're headed right back to Big Beat Burger. Hoping to recuperate from the mental damage accumulated over the past few days. Sure. The door's locked and nobody's inside. Interesting. I need to be soothed. I need my routine. Okay, so things are getting a little out of hand. Kind of cutting at Julia's general daily practices. And maybe throw her off base. Which could maybe tell us that somebody's kind of messing with us. Likely. What do you mean closed? In the middle of a pandemic, everything's closed. Yeah. Gotta remember the time this game came out. It's been a few years. The SARS virus, straight from China. Alright, yeah, so a pandemic. Not exactly the same pandemic, slightly different pandemic. And I didn't know something like this could happen in this day and age. Somehow it always felt like we were beyond it. Well, we are certainly not. We are certainly not. That's for sure. You know what, hold on, I gotta make one little change real quick. Doing this. Hold on. One moment, please. Stop that. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you know, don't really have to worry about the SARS virus if you're already dead. Virus is probably not going to do a lot to you. Not like those cigarettes, which apparently are still bad for us even though we're dead, just because it takes vitae to pretend like we're alive when we're smoking. Walk away. Now I understand why NYC feels apocalyptic tonight. Psychedelic experience to see these familiar streets empty and abandoned. I say that, but in the little image we have here, there's definitely people on the streets. Walking in a group, in fact. Let's see what parts of the city are still alive in the middle of a plague. Alright, so now we got some more choices. We got 2 places to go to. As usual, as we found out, is that usually if we are giving more than one option, there's at least one option that we're going to leave on the table. So one of these things we're probably not going to get to do. We haven't gotten to do all the things in any night up to yet. There are 3 things, you get to do probably 2 of them. There are 2 things, you probably get to do 1 of them. Alright, so we have an aristocratic taste. The malaise spreading through the burrows is putting me in a weird mood. Can't outrun it, so maybe I'll intensify it instead. Smallpox hospital, here I come. What? Alright. A familiar smile. Took just 2 days for the city to go all the last man on Earth. I probably won't have a better chance to soak in the atmosphere. I don't know. Both of these seem really weird. They seem like strange choices. I'm not particularly tied to one or the other. Going to a smallpox hospital. Is there I don't think there can't be an active smallpox hospital in NYC. So is that like a museum? Rather than an active hospital? And then this one basically just doesn't give me any information. Familiar smile, last man on Earth. Soak in the atmosphere. Which Julia made it sound like we don't necessarily crave. So if we're going to soak into it, we might as well lean into it, right? I guess we'll go with the aristocratic taste. Entertaining the thought of sneaking through a hospital to see how things appeared up close, but looked like an actual war zone, so I decided against it. I guess that makes sense. Also, given our the problems that we have with electronic devices when we're near them, probably a hospital's not a great place to be. That really probably put a lot of people in danger. I probably should have thought of that one a little bit more. Should have been thoughtful about that, but I wasn't. Regardless, we didn't get there. Healthcare reform, topical. Fewer facilities in poorer areas, fewer beds, less funding. We're just reaping what they've sown. Okay. Used to honestly consider going back to the old country. An American friend was like, well, why would you go back to that shithole? Shocked to learn we have normal, free healthcare. Yeah. Well, isn't that nice? The active hospital won't do. This one might. The smallpox hospital on Roosevelt Island. But okay, so I was right. Yeah, I was like, isn't the smallpox hospital like a museum? Yes. Built to quarantine the poor and the unloved victims of pandemics away from normalcy. Okay. So out on Roosevelt Island. Architecture still manages to perfectly convey the building's painful history. Delightful. There are ghosts here. Okay. So that's interesting because ghosts for sure are a thing in World of Darkness. They're mostly the good metaphorical kind, not the kind I usually see. Yeah, as an Malkavian, we've also seen some spirit-ish things. That kind of comes with being a Malkavian. You can get a little touch in the head. Sometimes the things you see are real. Sometimes maybe they're not. Maybe they're figments. So far as we know in this game specifically, and this interpretation of the World of Darkness and Malkavians in general, the spirits seem to be a real thing. They don't just seem to be the whispers of madness, which is sometimes how Malkavians get played. But they kind of get whispers of madness. Looks like there might also be a lone physical being here. Someone sneaking through the ruins. That's for my peace. Oh, so we're just gonna do a little snacky snack, a little late night bite. How do I approach that person? We can go through the shadows. I mean, this person's probably gonna freak out anyways if they think they're here alone. Good subdue them. We should say hi. I mean, there's a lone person here. This person as a human, World of Darkness rules, assuming that we're playing true World of Darkness rules, a vampire is incredibly more powerful than the average person. Even like an above average person. Still wildly more powerful. One person alone in a building, isolated. If they tried to run away or do something weird, they're not going to overpower us. They're not going to be able to get away from us. We're faster and stronger than they are. We have, again, the dominate thing. We know that their tech's not going to work around us. So we don't have to worry too much about being like caught on camera or somebody calling somebody or anything like that. So I think we can just say hi. Wait behind the corner. I was trying not to be stealthy, but now we are. Emerge when I hear their steps nearby. Hi. She drops something on the floor, it breaks into 1,000 little pieces. Don't scare me like that. Look what you made me do. Picks up the pieces of some ugly glass sculpture. The shape is familiar. Is that a Scrooge McDuck figurine? It was a Karl Barks design. They stopped making these decades ago. You don't even know how long it took me to find it. I was really looking forward to decorating my haven with this. Okay, this is going to be a kindred. It's pop art. Now I realize what I couldn't put into words. It was the feeling she might be kindred. And she is. Airheaded and eccentric, but I would want to pick a fight with her. Called a hunch. Her name is Julia. I'm a Lasombra representative for the city. Absolutely horrible first impression. Alright, lady. Yeah, we've never met. You live here? More time for hobbies if you hide in secluded places. Okay. Name? Call me Princess. My true name is for friends only, and after destroying my treasure, count you as a sworn enemy. When you least expect it, I will find you, and I will trap you in a reality of eternal pain. Okay, so Liam Neeson. Named Princess. To complain to the court, at least honestly tell Helene to start looking for a replacement. So, sorry, I won't cut it. You'd originally be thrilled to see Prince Helene assign me with a mission of looking for a rare Scrooge McDuck statue, but I prefer to avoid that fate. Yeah. Does seem a little bit beneath us. How can I make it up to you? Should I search for a replacement online, or... I'm not going to lie to you, I prefer not to stay mad for long. It's exhausting, and it's a threat to your beauty, both inner and outward. Princess is strange. Even for a kindred, she's strange. We're certainly picking up on that. I ask you for a small favor, then we'll be square and I won't have to worry about becoming ugly. Sound good? Guess that will depend a lot on the favor, Princess. A lot. Super into low art these days, that's why I collect stuff like Scrooge McDuck lamps. Oh, it's a lamp. Okay. That makes more sense than just a figurine. Hardcore into high art before. Harmonic structure box cantatas. Taught myself Arabic just to weep over Middle Eastern poetry. Read a lot of Joyce, Adorno, etc. Okay. This is clearly somebody who comes from some money. And certainly some culture. Switching up her hobbies. Comic books, heavy rock music, modern Hollywood movies, you know, stuff made for small children, basically. I like some of those things. I feel called out. It's not low enough. There's still much more mastery of the form. Too much restraint, too much respectability, too much tastefulness. Rush of gazing into the soul of someone willing to admit truly degenerate obsessions. Okay, yeah, alright. The lowest kind of art you can find. Just sweep me off my feet and we'll be good. Alright, well, you can certainly find some bad art. I don't think that will be hard to do in New York City. How low is too low? No such thing as too low. I refuse advances from a guy who lived just outside of Astoria. He definitely still owns some incredibly low art. What exactly should I get her? A fantasy book, an anime DVD, a video game. Well, if we go by today's standards still, video games are still kind of considered the lowest art form among these. She said Hollywood movies, so she already sees film as being somewhat. She already was talking about books, and some books are well regarded. Especially some fantasy books. It seems like video game. Video game is still one of those media that hasn't quite... Still enough people who still think that video games are strictly for children. So it hasn't quite seemed to cross that threshold where people are like, oh, this can be art. Besides maybe what the guy's name, like a David Cage games, which is just like interactive movies. But I think some of us feel like video games certainly can be art. I don't think that all video games are art, in the same way that I don't think all movies or all books are art. I try to make a pretty big distinction between art and entertainment. Entertainment is something that is fun. It's like junk food. It's good. It's tasty. We enjoy it. Whereas art is something that, at least for me, makes me think about the human condition. Not a lot of video games do, but some do. Some do, for sure. I think I'm going to say video game. Back in a jiffy. Takes an hour to get there, wake him in the middle of the night, mess with his head a little, and get back with an appropriately low work of art. I got something. What is it? Limited edition physical release of some obscure video game. No, I don't think I ever thought of them as art. So there we go. See if the description my friend printed for me interests you enough to give them a try. Idea versus a lavishly budgeted American homage to the classics of the visual novel style, meaning to usher a new era for the genre in the West. Barely a video game, let's be honest. We're playing one and it's barely a video game. 21 students awake in their abandoned high school with no recollection of what happened to them. A horrifying machine announces they're now part of a death game. Oh, it's a killing game. Their only weapon is ideology. Socialism, libertarianism, conservatism, fascism, liberalism. They all have their champion here. A series of intense school debates starts and every loser is sentenced to death. This seems appropriately bad. I'm sure that all those political ideologies will be handled in very thoughtful ways. Political science Hunger Games. Yeah, that's good. Alright. Note, all characters depicted in this game are 18 years of age or older. The uncensored patch has already been applied. So it is... Yeah. Truly is a visual novel for the ages. This is great. It is. I don't have any idea what I'm looking at, but I can feel that it's utterly degenerate and naked, and its intention's just what I needed. I've had more than enough of art trying to dazzle or win me over to be used as a stepping stone in someone's illustrious career. I just want someone to be like, screw it, I don't want to impress anyone, I don't want to get anywhere. I just want to vomit out my soul for all the freaks like me to see. Interesting. I think that in its own way that might be the ultimate form. That's not maybe wrong. Though my debt's paid. I guess. Alright. Alright, well that certainly took our minds off of the SARS pandemic apparently that's happening. Anyways, enough screwing around. I guess I should get back to my murder investigation or whatever. Deer and D'Angelo. And that is close agency. Like a dump. Perfect for the claim of the hidden. Thought he wasn't hidden. I thought he was missing. And expected the worst. Why would we look for him in the most obvious place? Asking, I've got a hunch. Just look around. Okay? You can look around. Took me time to get used to him. He takes sleuthing very, very seriously. Ugh. His thing is acting like an idiosyncratic noir detective. Ugh. Doesn't sound too quirky by this city standards. Rat on the floor, frozen in unnatural position. Weeping. Gross. Examine it. Kick it. I don't think it's going to be gross. This is somebody who's lived in New York City for a little bit. I mean, you're going to see rats. Especially, she was just in like a trash alley with Tamika. They definitely saw rats. I kind of want to just go with the intrusive thought and just be like, just kick it. I think that's what I'm going to do. Stretches on the floor instead of running away. Don't pick on the little guy. Would you like it if I kicked you? Do you have a sweet spot for animals, Kadir? Yeah. Kicks a pile of clothes lying on the floor. I'm just a corpse, leave me alone. Pile of clothes transforms into an unkempt man who looks like he's suffering from some sort of skin disease. My true friend would just bury me. Alright, I've been asking around for the past few days. What I've learned is that for reasons that can be best described as nebulous, you made quite a few enemies since then. Okay. So D'Angelo's fortunes are definitely on a downhill swing. Everyone has it on good authority your place was raided a few times without you being found, yet nobody has assumed responsibility for these acts. It always looks like it was raided. Can't blame anyone for making an educated assumption. Alright, yeah. Well, you've got my number and you can see my ugly mug right in front of you, so no use playing dumb. Agreed. And all these weeks hold ups, the hunger not getting to you. Get a lot of critters around this area and we've become chums. Some of them, these rats actually got addicted to the kiss. They come to me every night acting like coke hounds, begging for it. Getting them drunk just to get the rush out of feeding on them. Feel a bit like slathering a horribly burned piece of pizza and ketchup. And the afterlife is not all glitz and glamour sometimes. It can be real bad, it seems like. Which I feel like is very par for the course with playing the tabletop version of Vampire the Masquerade. Is like, it's still like a lot of mundane stuff. And I mean, you still have fortunes. The world still kind of works on money and a lot of issues like that. So, not to mention just making enemies of the wrong people. You know, this is in my disgust. Somebody finally put the old man on ice. Whoever did it did the whole world a huge favor. Okay. Need your help. I'm not exactly a sleuth. We could say that. It's an unusual case. We could say that. That's a very safe answer, though. Not exactly a sleuth, then why are you doing it? You know. I don't think have some dignity man's gonna get what we want. Guy. He is a guy getting rats drunk so he can feed on them. I think we'll just have to go with it's an unusual case. Extremely political. Game was rigged against me from the start. I'm bumbling around and achieving nothing while everyone laughs behind my back. Sound hopeless. Haven't you ever read a Chandler book? How it always is. Do your best. Yeah, we need some hard-boiled noir detectives. Hope you stumble on the answer by accident. Yanni must be his first name. Never seen you this low before. Stress-related disorders causing a disruption in my routine. Happens when a lot of shady folks are out to put a stake through. Maybe we can get you to return if you help us out. Respect where it's due, but I think it's going to be the other way around. Not telling the two of you shit, pardon my French, until I know I can count on some protection. You want to endanger myself, you put your honor on the line for me. Danger protection to me, or this will be the last time you ever see me. Alright, but 3 months from now, or the moment Prince Penard tells us it's no longer possible for the court to offer you safety without compromising its principles, you're on your own. Alright, so basically he's putting an end to it. He's saying, hey, I guarantee to protect you for 3 months. That sounds fair. I feel like you can get a lot accomplished in 3 months. You can certainly get a plan put in place in 3 months. That seems reasonable, I guess. No negotiations. We don't really have the leverage for it. Like, we're seeking this guy out. You can go hard-nosed on him. All right, so he agrees. Ugh. Sorry, guys. I did my workout just a little while ago, and sometimes that just takes right out of me. Coffee is not popping me back up. Should have made it stronger. Well, we're gonna start the interrogation with a tricky one. Who doesn't want our guy here dead. Agathon, presumed dead. Tamika, MIA. Hope the kook. And in her office in her Van der Weyden skirts. Oh, so we should have just come to D'Angelo first, because apparently he knows everything that's going on with the other people. That would have saved us a lot of time if we had just found this guy first. Thanks, Kadir. Around the time they started having trouble, I don't think Hope's really having any trouble, is she? I don't know that Hope is really hiding. Like, I feel like people know where Hope is. Tamika's certainly hiding. Agathon is, according to us, our, what is it, glass half full. We think he might be alive just because we literally have no indication that the guy's dead. That's a big assumption that he's met his final death. Around the time I started having trouble, some rough-looking streetwise kindred started hanging around at my usual spots. It didn't take me long to connect the dots. What's the connection between you and those three? Well, we're on the short list, right? Ever since last year, folks started hiring us for various gigs, some even trying to get us to join their coteries. All of these opportunities were rather short-lived. Oh, this is very interesting. I don't think I just put it together until just now. I think what we're looking at... I should have realized this early on. I wasn't expecting a video game to do this. I think what we're looking at is technically like a tabletop group of vampires playing Vampire the Masquerade. 4 people from very distinct different backgrounds who generally shouldn't be together are working together for something. So I think that's what we've stumbled across. We've stumbled across a group of essentially, I guess to put it in D&D terms, an adventuring party of Vampire the Masquerade players and their characters. All very different, all different skill sets, all do different things. Short-lived opportunities, this all sounds correct. Delicate tightrope act of working for various employers made us fully aware there's an intrasect alliance in NYC. Kindred from both sides often work for the same goals without knowing it. So, essentially, they got a little too wise. They knew a little bit too much eventually. They started putting a few too many things together. A few too many pieces of the puzzle together. That probably made people in power somewhat uncomfortable. Yeah, at the moment we started figuring it all out, a cleanup crew went downtown. Serious warlock boy sniffed something out of his own backyard, but then poof, he disappeared. So he's acting like he doesn't know who Agathon is, but he for sure 100% does know who Agathon is. He lost all contact with Hope and Tamika and went AWOL. Hope they're doing fine and they didn't snitch on me to anybody. They are, and they didn't even tell me you guys knew each other, so I think you're safe. Or are you milking them for intel? And on the list of 4 names on Callihan's remains, you can probably guess what they were. I heard it was just a list of freelancers, potential associates, probably prepared by Carter Van der Weyden. Money's on him being involved, but I smell bullshit. Got any idea who might have done the boss in? Any more clues? Not really. That's kind of the problem. Investigate the murder scene the way only you know how. Tell us what you think. Guide Julia in the proper direction. Try my best. Lead the way. Wouldn't be welcome in that deep in Anarch territory. Just clean yourselves up a bit, Johnny. My upholstery cleaned earlier this week. Yeah, he really cares about his car. Here we are. Wow, really didn't have to talk to anybody. We just strolled right in, huh? Didn't have to deal with Mia again. I felt like we would have a scene with Mia, because Mia's not going to be happy with us. Definitely lied to, whatever that guy's name was. Tamika's old flame. Classic closed room mystery case. Let me take a look. Look around the office, carefully taking in every element. So you're saying basically a nobody. You simply call Catherine Weiss and have her open sesame and Anarch crib for you. You sound like a somebody to me. Everyone treats me like dirt wherever I go, and I'm only acknowledged enough to legitimize this sham. Lord Castlereagh. I met Murder on the way. He had a mask like Castlereagh. Very smooth, he looked yet grim. 7 bloodhounds followed him. Never knew the old Irish coot was into the Napoleonic era. Don't know his exact age, or of course, so maybe it's when he lived or was born. Anywho. Lord Castlereagh. Born as Robert Stewart, a British Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs at the beginning of the 19th century. Incredibly influential, incredibly hated. He's the man who destroyed Napoleon for good, the man who shaped Britain politics for ages, the man who built foundations for European unity at Vienna. As somebody else, and he'll tell you he was the man who destroyed the Irish Parliament, the man who cracked down on any possibility of reform, and then supported the cavalry massacring peaceful protesters. Well, Callihan's an Irishman. And certainly seems to be from the 19th century, though maybe a little bit later. So if he destroyed the Irish Parliament, that guy certainly would not like Castlereagh. Is that the hint of a detective? He's not remembering anything from a photograph. That's just basic history. He just happens to know about the dude. Yeah, there you go. Very weird. Proof our victim was sick in the head. Or to draw specific attention to it, or it's a replacement of some kind. Callihan and his ilk adore those Jagos who strive to reach across the aisle and achieve hard compromises. I don't know. That seems like a real stretch, D'Angelo. Really good looking. Yeah, how did Castlereagh die? He committed suicide in the 1820s. His family took every sharp item away from him, but he was, well, dedicated. Plain old overwork, hate, pressure. Might have gone nuts, kept saying he saw ghosts, otherworldly silhouettes were guiding him, yada yada. Okay. Seems like somebody who might be tormented by aspects of the beyond the veil that is the world of darkness. That makes sense. Also, there's a rumor someone was starting to expose him as a homosexual. Yeah, it was pretty common back then. Having to choose between being publicly denounced or ending it all by his own hand, he chose the latter. Yeah, well. Couldn't have happened to a nicer fella. Posterity will ne'er survey a nobler grave than this. Here lie the bones of Castlereagh, stopped traveler and pit. Bones look Lee, causing me to jump a little as he's still under the influence. Isn't that tampering with a crime scene? As far as I can see, this crime scene's been with 3 times over. That is true, I think, yeah. Still trying to figure out what exactly he's holding in his hand. Is it supposed to be a vape? It kind of looks like it's supposed to be a vape. Not sure exactly what. Yeah, then it was already a total mess before we ever got here, which is what we knew that already. You know, that it's already been tampered with. Yeah, stuff doesn't work with me. Social cameras mess up my face. Sometimes I can't use a phone. You think it could be useful, but it's just a curse. Think these blinds could have been the murder weapon? Maybe. I don't think I had considered that because I thought that the way that they had been originally described was that they were like fully fastened shut, like they couldn't even open. So I think maybe they've doubled back on that a little bit. Staring at poor old Castlereagh, for soulmate to accompany him to the other side. The guy pushed to suicide by politics, pretty old school, romantic, yada yada. They're still going with he killed himself, but they're, I don't know. Maybe it was torpor, freak accident, premeditated. Unless a perfect murder weapon, no. Theory. Practically impossible to make certain now, kiddo. The most logical cause of final death would be damage to the heart, and that can easily be done without damage to the skin. That's true, yeah. Anybody made a crack in the safe? Only Callihan knew the code, and the safe itself is pretty hard to crack. He's a jack of all trades. There's a random fellow visiting a heritage museum in Alberta. He found a safe that hasn't been opened in 40 years. Not a single specialist, or even a blacksmith could have handled it. He just studied the numbering, listened closely to the mechanism, attempted the most sensible combinations, and voila, the unthinkable happened. That's where just trusting your instinct. Sure, bud. Nothing inside but an old page sheet. A few random papers. Lock has obvious traces of mechanical manipulation, probably recent too, reeks of foul play. I grab everything that's left inside the safe and hide it on my person, then close the door so nobody knows he managed to crack it. Yeah, it's doing one of those things where I feel like not a lot of games do this anymore. It used to be a more common thing where it's just like, oh, so anyways, we just bumbled around and then like random NPC came in and kind of knows how to do the crime scene investigation, which is somewhat frustrating. I can understand that it's not our forte, but you know, it's annoying. You know the entire beeswax about Schrodinger's cat. This place is wired. I think I'm okay. I've tried to record my voice a bunch of times on different hardware just to see if I can. It mostly comes out as noise. The strategy would make an educated guess about what happened here, then interrogate everyone about it. Maybe you'll take someone by surprise, drop a hook on them. The wiretap is a chip in the broken glass bottle on the floor. Absolutely sure it belongs to Kaiser. Elusive information broker, the talk of the city, finally got an excuse to nab him. I understand. I think I have an idea on how to use it to find him. Should I notify Kadir? I'll be meeting up with Kadir. You stay here, sister. Maybe there's something you've been missing. Your call. You're going beyond his jurisdiction, so he will try to stop you. Whatever you do, just give me a 10-minute heads up, you know, so I can get to a relative safety. Back into the sheriff's custody for now. See you around, Julia. Sorry, this old codger couldn't be more help. Literally more information than I've gotten this entire time investigating. Other than the one slip of paper that we had originally, this is really the only leads we had. I guess there was nothing in the safe, which is weird, so we didn't even get a look at it. We've got a lot of information pointing to a Kaiser. Eventually, like Kadir. I don't contact him in 2 hours like Kadir and know what happened. I'll be going. Now all I need is to execute a clueless Now all I need to execute it is not execute a clueless bystander. Execute it is a clueless bystander. Yeah, I'll do. You need me for anything else? Not really. Better take a hike before the guy you just called shows up. Can't guarantee he won't make you hurt. Mess with the guy's head a little too much using my wily kindred charms, but I need him to tell Kaiser where I want to meet quite clearly multiple times. Yeah, because we can't really call him. Black limo takes a fast, sharp turns on my street and stops right in front of me. Something like an acid flashback hits me. I know this limo. I've seen it all around over the past few days, but never thought it might be tailing me. Still, it must have. Finally about to get some answers. Doors open and a raspy voice comes from inside. Get in, Sowinski. Hop in. Okay, what is the real like Lincoln lawyer situation here? Kaiser, king of New York City's information highway, surrounded by screens, speakers, and newfangled technological gizmos of all kinds that are about to probably stop working the moment I get in here. Repulsive son of a bitch. Angelo was also a sewer rat, and he might have had a similar physical disadvantage, but at least he was wholly endearing. Inhumanly cold, and get the feeling he's been like this for ages. Getting on his nerves and other people, so I must be doing something right. Since he meant for this to be threatening, said I'm elated. After a week of running around like a headless chicken, not sure if I was getting anywhere. Finally, I get a compliment. Thanks. So I am doing a good job. Thanks for noticing. That's great. That's good. That's good for us. Everything's coming up Sowinski. You only know you're doing your job correctly when someone powerful gets visibly mad. Agreed. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Don't piss me off, old man. You want to escalate, I can escalate. There's a lot of expensive shit here you probably wouldn't want me to break. Did hear you and Tech don't get along. Is that why you left that mess down in the double spiral basement? It's obvious you're not willing to read this signal. Okay? You were hired for one thing and one thing only, little lady, to suck at your job, and you couldn't even do that correctly. Yeah, you kind of hired the wrong person for that. We keep trying to make her understand how hopeless she is, but she just won't get a clue. She doesn't have any evidence, she doesn't have any testimony, but she still goes around knocking on everyone's doors, causing disturbances. It's a fucking headache. Yeah. Try to be a jovial host. I cheer him up. She's stupid, making mountains out of molehills to make her seem useful. She's about to stop. You and your infinite idiocy decide to prove me wrong in the most spectacular fashion by knocking on my very own door, forcing my hand, threatening. Okay, weird. You autistic or something? Okay. Can't read social cues? Stop for 1 second and ask yourself, wait, Bono? Who even wants you to solve anything, let alone this case? I agree. Should not have put me in this situation, but also, I'm in this situation, so I kind of have to do my job. So I'm tinkering with the system, irritating malfunctions, driving people. Are you done? Unbelievable. I'm gonna ask you to share some information. A garbage dump of a woman. How do I get through all the rubbish in your head to drive my point in? Don't you know who I am? A guy who doesn't seem like he has a home. Seems to be riding around in a weird tech limo. Which is strange. We could go for a power play. I don't think that's gonna go well. Kaiser for sure thinks he's the big mucky muck. But I do think that Kaiser is... yeah, just another dude. We can threaten him, which I don't think will go well either. Or we could, you know, lean on the scrap of truth that we have. Which is a good play, but we might be showing our cards too early, but the rest of these kind of suck. I mean, we can't really threaten this guy, like, not gonna do anything. We can't do anything to him. I want to see our higher ups, he's gonna brush us off. Or he's gonna get belligerent, one of the two. If he gets belligerent, we can screw up his life pretty badly with all the tech that's in here, though. I think maybe we don't want to show our hand quite yet, because we just kind of opened the conversation. We don't really have him in a listening position yet. Let's go with this one. I want to talk to the manager, not an underling. Yeah, I'm a clown. Whatever. Give me 10 minutes and I can arrange a meeting, but this is your last chance to turn back. If you don't, I can tell you now, you're going to be sorry. The big kahuna. Alright. The boss doesn't fuck around. Best case, you're going to beg him to take you in. Strong sense of foreboding. Another shadowy spirit. Expression that's impossible to discern. When she speaks, her voice is machine-like yet otherworldly. And we're 5 minutes away or so. Get the boys ready to give her the Mel Gibson special. Doesn't sound good. We're 5 minutes away. There is no honcho. He's setting me up. I mean, I kind of assumed that. I didn't think he was really going to take us to the head honcho. Like I said, there's no way he would do that. You get out of here now. Hold up. Glass breaking, loud thuds of something heavy hitting the asphalt. Something heavy hitting the asphalt, tire screeching. I think he grabbed me. I think he tried to pull me back in. I think we fell out of the limo. I think his body cushioned my fall. I'm struggling to process what's going on. It's like I'm backing out. When I come to, he's already attempting to get up, cursing under his breath. The limo has stopped a little further in. Whoever the driver is, he's not coming out. Yeah, he's an older vampire who knows how strong he is. I need something that will give me the advantage. The pepper spray, of course. Probably won't be as effective as it would be on a living person, but it's still worth a try. Arm the device, aim towards his eyes, and unload the entire canister. It worked. It actually worked. You up the offensive, punch him, kick him, throw him around, pummel him, smash his head against a curb, struggle to harm him in whatever way I can, like a frightened animal. I don't know how long it lasts. Maybe 1 minute, maybe an eternity. Pounding on somebody for 60 seconds is all. Doesn't sound like a long time. It's a long time of doing physical stuff like that. That's a long time of punching and kicking. Once he sees one do it, he runs away in the other direction. Feels great. Feels awful. Great. I'm done. I sit on the curb and scream my lungs out to avoid crying. Then I look at him. Seems shocked, barely hanging on. I know what I've done was extremely stupid. I did hear how he's one of the most influential figures in the city. That's probably why he never expected to get his ass whooped. Especially by someone like me. When he speaks again, his voice is pathetic, surprisingly close to a whimper. You'll pay. You'll fucking pay. You lost, mislaid, and abandoned property of a woman. He's unwell. My approach begin. Wanna have me whacked? What do you think, I'm stupid? You needed to be taught a lesson. Well, look who ended up teaching who what. Now talk. Tell me everything you know about Callihan's final death. All of it. You're not gonna tell me anything. You try anything, there will be consequences. There will be retribution. My mouth is shut. Might be my last chance to solve the case, but if I don't force him to talk, he won't. There's a burgeoning thought in my mind, but it scares even me. Do I dare push him to the edge? Make him suffer until he speaks? Let's look at our traits. Little glass half full. Optimism, like, yeah, we could probably survive it. Little abuse of power, never hurt nobody. A little abuse of physical power, maybe never hurt nobody, except this guy. Can't be a writer and not lie, and loyal to the end. We're here to do the job. We know this guy has information, and he won't give it to us. Also, I'm not gonna lie, it probably looks pretty baller to be like, hey, there's this super powerful guy, so anyways, he tried to get me killed, so I stomped him. Especially as like a brand new vampire. Like this would, obviously this is not how this would go down in true World of Darkness fashion. If you're a new vampire and you're trying to do anything against an elder, the elder's gonna whoop you. For sure. Like even if you had a bunch of friends with you, the elder vampire is still probably gonna kill you and all your friends, even if they're by themselves. I think we got to do whatever's necessary, right? We already know. Look, we already know that we're on the wrong side of this guy. If we let this guy live, he is definitely going to try to get us killed. And dead people don't solve cases. Will Kadir be able to protect us? Probably not. But, who knows? I think we go with whatever is necessary. I don't think we care as much about... I think Julia's gotten a little taste of the violence. I don't think she's super opposed to it. I think we're going to go for it. The end justifies the means. Duh. Okay. I'm sure you'll open your mouth if I do this. Put his shin against the curb. Ah. Compound fracture. Ooh, that's nasty. It feels like I'm dissociating. He's weeping like a child. Shatters the tough image he was trying to project earlier. What if it is the first time anybody's used physical violence against him? Start talking, or I start breaking the other legs. Then the hands, then I get creative. Lee. Alright. The kick connects. Alright, make it good. Everyone was there. Everyone and their mother was there. Vanderweyden, Ashling, Arturo, Banner, douche motherfucker, Torque with his sidekick. All there. Yeah. Full on conspiracy. Agathon thought the only way out was to pit them all against each other, or to ally with every single one of them. Little did he know it was in all of their best interest for him to just die, so they all just did the same thing to him. But who killed him? I don't have any idea. That won't do. I don't have any idea who kept complaining to you about me. Who's responsible for getting rid of the evidence? Everyone did. Callihan had dirt on everyone and antagonized everyone, so it took everyone to bring him down. All evidence is gone, every theory is equally true, so none of it is. Don't you see? Everyone is complicit, so nobody is. Why do you think Sophie Langley is no longer around? Why is Torque no longer pretending to be a revolutionary? Why are free agents involved? Why are they shutting you up tomorrow? Can't you connect the dots? Alright, getting real rude with the language for somebody who's about to get wrecked even more than they are. This is why I didn't want you to get involved. I had a hunch. Hunch at the moment you got a whiff of true power, all brakes will be off. Should have you in for a potential masquerade breach. Dangerous, psychotic, yeah, they're gonna do the hatch job on me. If you ask me to leave, I'm going to have to assume you're complicit. With 2 strikes in my book, you don't want to risk a third. Or what, you're not going to protect me? You aren't going to do that anyways, Kadir. You're going to leave, and I'm going to get the hell out of this city, is probably what I'm going to do. Go home. Fine, I will. If the church finished again tonight, I want more time to finish this report. Who knows, it might be my final one. I'll spend more time with Dakota. This is very dumb of Julia. Not... Wish we were given a choice as to what to do here. Like, should we go to the church and do our report? Should we do our report? Should we go to the church? Should we go back with Julia? At which point I probably would have chosen church. I mean, like, I need to get the heck out of here. Okay. You're early. My clothes, Dakota. These are my cigarettes. That's my jewelry on the table. I thought I was being neurotic whenever I noticed something dreadfully familiar in you. Please do explain. Are you single white femailing me? I thought I was the leech in this relationship. I mean, this is like baby cake stuff compared to what we just did. Like, I feel like in this situation, me personally would be like, lady, I ain't got time for this. I got way bigger fish to fry. I've never even been this serious with you. Modulating your speech after me, the weird ways our tastes were always compatible, some of your art feeling so familiar. As humanly embarrassed as possible. And not your mommy. Okay. Oh, I'm having it hard. Okay, there. Didn't share any of that at any point. So that's kind of on you. Oh, counting on you to ask about how I'm very codependent. Feeling claustrophobic. Is it just me, or is our drug supply weirdly shrinking too fast? The moment I entertain the thought of taking something in return, I'm crossing a line. I mean, Dakota's not entirely in the wrong. Like, Julia kind of sucks. You can't really be in a relationship with a vampire if you're a human. I don't think it works. I'm destined for better things than this. At the door, did you take your keys? I don't know. I don't know if I care. For a way to open a different world and not get locked back in mine, I collapse into the soft bed. I smell her perfume. Now it makes me a little nauseous. I don't think about Dakota, I think about Kaiser, I think of Kadir, I think of Callihan. No matter what I think of, I sense doom. Feel my fate, whatever it may be. Everything sucks. Back in the void, back in the void, back into the void. Alright. There we go. Another night passes. Always starts with an image. Hides a mystery. That mystery doesn't exist without a text, or more specifically, a context. Context is everything. Okay. Ghost of an idea. Half-forgotten memory of something unspeakably beautiful I will never ever see again. The sunrise. Fragment of a music video and animation. Sunrise, last thing Callihan ever saw in his own life. Pressing his skin, turning it to ash, giant ball of fire engulfing his body in flames from 93 million miles away. Was he terrified? Yeah, probably not. No suicide note, no nothing. You can only count on what the local historians will write, presumably letting their biases shape the narrative one way or another. Laughable hall of mirrors, creep whom I never ever want to see again. Vampire more despicable self. Or someone who loved taking care of me and deserved to be cared for in return. Eh. And we gradually took his place where angry, disappointed thoughts, among them one thought that was always trying to suppress. He's someone who'd know how to raise me up spiritually. But all I have is a sycophant who's always working her ass off to lift me up without understanding what I need. It's hard. Yeah, it was not a good relationship. Better narrative. I was just defining the story of my life, story of my own life. No idea what to think about the city. Yeah. I feel like we're hurtling towards the end game here. Flashy riders whose main concern is furthering their own brand. Blah 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 blah. Into the same visual that has been tormenting me for every waking moment this past week. Senseless demise, crime scene stripped of evidence, an image created by an unknown artist designed to leave you dumbfounded. It does make this very strange. Like, if Kadir was complicit in all this stuff, which he may or may not be, it feels like it probably at some point he would have clued himself in, and that's why he's been profoundly unhelpful for most of this until the end. If he's complicit with it, like, why did he offer D'Angelo the protection? Unless it was specifically so he could then just kill D'Angelo. Have D'Angelo have an accident while under his protection. So he would know where D'Angelo was so he could send people after him. I don't know, Kadir's a little kind of all over the place. Very hard to pin down kind of guy. It seems like maybe he's just a bit of a jackboot in the end anyways. Unfortunately. All the possible avenues explored, all the non-testimonies are in, no concrete evidence found, the play is almost complete, the actor's ready to leave the stage. It is what it is. I failed as a detective, maybe through no fault of my own, but again, it is what it is. In this case, this scene, this picture never needed an investigator. From what I understand, all the people in charge never wanted was a talented writer. What if? Ghost of an idea. When I wake up, Dakota is still not here. I don't know how to feel about that, so I just don't. Here hasn't left any messages by the door? Still that mad, huh? I'll probably appeal to the court to take me off the case. And if half of the garbage Kaiser was spouting is correct, he shouldn't have much trouble convincing everyone. Look in the mirror and stare at my warped non-reflection. This place is upsetting. You need to change the scenery, girl. Pressing streets of lockdown New York City will do. I think of God. Maybe that's why I half consciously cathedral station. Think of the silver cross adorning my chest, an empty signifier. Whenever someone asks me why I wear it, they hear a different story. I think of my clan so closely tied to the Catholic Church. It's a loveless marriage, so to speak, like, for example, the one between my parents. Great irony of the Lasombra's truce with the Holy See. We are the only ones who stay so close to the Lord's light, even though we're certain we will never, ever reach it. Some of us have visions of comrades that departed this world, traveling through some abstract space, one that's disturbing and astonishing in equal measures. Forebears of every kindred belonging to the 13 vampire clans, the antediluvians. These vicious bastards of the third generation created the world as we know it, and some features of our blood are said to have originated with them. Thanks for cutting me out of the internet, you medium dickweed. What I'd say, if I didn't have a premonition, we might see each other again someday. Somehow. Yeah, the rumor is ours wasn't stopped by their final death. Behind the shadows, taking revenge for our patricide, feeding on us, and devouring his children. Might not be factual, but it is an emotional truth. Joining the Camarilla, panically scrambling for any safe house, is just our elders are solely motivated by fear. There's a lot of talking at me. We have to mess with the constant sense of doom. No way to live. That's what they call it, unlife. Benoit. A sheep. Shepherd was extraordinarily patient and waiting for you. You out for blood? Place offers both the body and the blood. Missionaries learn their methods from pickup artists. They would all be like this guy. That's a good line. I like that writing. I said move. The liar and the father of lies got a hold on your soul. If so, give me a signal, even the smallest one. I'll do my best to spot it. Something swells within my chest. I recognize the feeling. The handbrake just broke, and I'm definitely not on level ground. Here we go. Sanctimonious attitude, brazen lack of basic empathy. Stupid, tasteless, and cringe. Terrible people, and none of them get under my skin the way you do. Hey, do you know God exists? Hey, have you heard that God exists? What? I love the imagery, tradition, and lore, the practices, the intricacies of theology, the messages contained in the Bible. But I don't think I will see Big Dad in this guy. Fun imagery. Just a weirdo cosplayer, you're not Catholic. Also funny. Why are we now having a conversation with Benoit? I don't care. Leave me. Structure your life, knowing where to find people who share your values, except you don't share those values, really. The choice of being aristocracy. Make rituals, formalizing your actions and relationships. Through the rituals, separating you from the masses, hierarchies, communities. It's like monarchy or some Camarilla tradition, not as gauche. You saw pretty paintings and buildings and thought, yeah, I want in on that. And then you just decided what they mean to you. Okay, interesting. When people usually try to drown out with drugs, sex work, Netflix, pick your poison, all of them temporary copes. Existential despair. Empty yourself, kill your ego, get a routine, join a community, ground your morality in something tangible, start perceiving yourself as part of something greater. That's all not bad advice. One that keeps the beast at bay. Is the beast at bay supposed to be the... I think that's what it's called, right? Yeah, the beast. The urge. Who are you praying to? You don't believe in Skydad. This is a frustrating conversation to have with a frustrating person at a frustrating time. Like, you know, can we finish what we started over there with Kaiser, and maybe we just break both of Benoit's legs on the curb? Then, hey, desire to murder increases. Yeah. You have a complete mental breakdown every time you remember you have mommy issues. Classy. Much like Benoit. Classy. It's a weird point in the story to have this weird drawn out conversation with Benoit. I don't really know why this is here. Feels like this should have been spread out throughout like multiple nights of the game. Okay. Except the cross you're wearing into your heart, but it is also a pretty piece of silver. Enough, Benoit. I'm very disappointed in the way you approach folks in need. Yeah, I'd agree. Get me some coffee. I feel sorry for him. That's a good way to open. You might find basic empathy through faith. All we've done thus far is let him leave you at the end of your time. Some faith he has. I don't... Leonard, figure out what you want out of this dude. Purely secular takes on Christ's teachings are nothing new, that's true. Pascal's wager is a boring example, but have you by chance read Bulgakov's Master of the Margarita? Every teen trying to look intellectual online loved to repeat that joke about talking cat who swears he'd never pour vodka for a lady because women deserve pure alcohol. Okay. Been too long. "4 hours from now, there's going to be a meeting in Elysium, the big finale of Celebrations of Power. Everyone will be there, but they were counting on you to not show up. The good sheriff plans to present the results of the investigation in your stead. It's a simple, crude strategy. Might work, but begs to be countered with an outrageous tactic. Take it as you will. The game is about to end." Eh? What? What now? Don't ask me, I'm just the messenger. A good friend, a cautious friend, wouldn't be able to tell you more than that even if you forced me to. The moment that might decide the rest of my days. What would you do in my place, Father? The world felt too big and scary and impossible to understand, so I simply escaped from that choice into the cemetery. God. Oh no, I might have to think about myself and the dilemmas of the world in which I live. No, rather than that, I'd rather go to school. Have something that'll tell me what to do and think. Seems shady, but not a bad guy. Still, you have to accept the people above you are responsible for some horrible things. If our superiors acts as our own sins, then on the face of it, probably half the people in this world are irredeemable. True. True, but also it's more that, the people in this case, certain organizations, being very complicit in just trying to hand wave it all away rather than, deal with the thing. Or in fact, sometimes not punish those people at all. And allow them to continue to do the things that we know are bad. Clever, but not a real answer. Yeah, being a low-level grunt to assholes you find wholly objectionable is no way to live. Is it? I have to go. These are difficult times, Julia. My parishioners keep calling me. Things people are going through they might never admit, but if this keeps up, it will cause horrifying, invisible damage to the... A dreadful darkness is killing us all, little by little, and like every powerful evil, it manifests itself little by little. And yet, sinful as it may be, I confess to being strangely excited. For a moment, we're seeing this suffocating normal disappear. This is the time to dream a new world possible. Walk these empty streets, Julia. Remember how the city feels right now. Bask in its shadows and uncertainties. After the apocalypse comes the great rebirth. Amici noctis. Await. Next report. Great. Curiosity. Give him a nod and I sprint away. Now I know what I must do. That's good, because I'm not sure what I should do. I feel like bust down the door in front of everybody and be like, this guy, and this guy, and this guy, and this guy killed Callihan. In front of everybody that is a big wager. Especially considering we don't really have any evidence of that. Not that Slavic, not that American. I am about to finally carve out some space for myself. It's been a long road. Wish me luck. Catch him in front of the art hole because, of course, he had to be the first person I met there. No way. No, 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 no. I'm going to be the laughingstock of the entire city if I don't show up to the resolution of my own investigation. How about you demonstrate a modicum of courtesy? Put you on trial. I can't guarantee I eventually won't. You've messed with Kaiser, the eminence of this city. Beat him to a pulp like a random goon. He will do everything he can to destroy you from now on. And my bet is he'll succeed. Whatever will be, will be. For now, at the very least, I'd like to show the court I'm not a baby fledgling who can't see a task she was given to the end. You're making a huge mistake, girl. How did you even learn this meeting is happening in the first place? Maybe I'm not as trash an investigator as you thought I was. I never said. You're showing it. It's not fair. Shut up, Kadir. I'm going to finish this. Oh, you're doing it for me, Kadir. Oh, thank you. Yeah. It'd be nice if you asked what I think next time. You will stay quiet the whole time. No tricks, ifs, or buts. But of course. See the but? But of course. Yeah, we'll see what happens, Kadir. I mean, we're going right into the maw of the lion, so I mean, chances are that I'm about to get gobbled up. So I might as well make some noise while I do it. Celebrations of power are almost over. Everyone is back to their usual respective styles again, looking weary of each other's company, trapped in their own little world. The art hole is nearly empty now, and Kadir is gently strong-arming the last remaining nobodies into leaving the premises. Eventually, only me and a select few. Oh, so we don't get to do it in front of everybody. That's even worse for us. Sowinski barely made it, huh? You're making it sound like a one-man show. Preparations took me a little bit longer than I thought they would. I apologize. Are you planning to surprise us with something? Well, if I was planning something, it wouldn't be a surprise if I told you no. We're about to begin. Everybody gathers around Kadir. Everyone present. An unusual guest to our fold. Emerges a silhouette that would never, ever appeared here under Ansett. Name's Torque. I'm the Baron of the Bronx. I was delegated here by my compatriots as an oversight authority. Here to observe the results of the investigation, nothing more, nothing less. Shouldn't I be Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Shouldn't we be actually be giving the findings of this to the Anarchs and not technically the Camarilla? Let me stress this is a one-time occurrence meant to alleviate the tensions in the city, not a symbol of mutual recognition. Not in the slightest. Looking at Addison's face to get a feel for how a hardline loyalist might grapple with this arrangement. His expression betrays no surprise, only a slight discomfort. And Prince must have been extremely convincing about the necessity of a temporary truce, or some Machiavellian tactic she's got ready up her sleeve. Who knows? We put aside in order to quell unrest and open paths for constructive, meaningful change. Sure, Torque. Torque, Arturo, and Penard exchange glances. Normally, I'd consider it an innocent gesture, knowing what I know for all my eyes. Take your carrot, Torque. What made you break and sell your compatriots? How much do you really know? not Kadir. State the conclusion I'm about to present is by no means my own achievement. It is the result of a tireless investigation conducted by talented kindred I won't name here. A telling glance in Torque's direction serves as a succinct explanation for why he refuses to call them by names. And of course, Julia Sowinski. Ceaseless groundwork over the past few nights served as a foundation for the findings that are about to be revealed here. Julia. Not the first time he sets out to oversell my achievements. Representative has spent the last few days overseeing the celebrations in Elysium, making sure no harm would befall anyone present. Luckily, none did. Prince's decision to move forward with the event was the correct one. Thanks to Kadir and our guest. No wonder she dumped him. Yeah, no. Whereas the empty pleasantries and let Kadir move on. I don't have all night for this. I'll be concise. Callihan's remains were found in his office by one of the ghouls first thing in the evening. The first kindred to confirm it was another Anarch Baron Torque present here. Book author referred to the circumstances of Callahan's death as a classic closed room mystery. Metal door locked from the inside served as the sole way in. No murder weapon, no useful testimonies, and the evidence was, how do I put it, barely circumstantial at best. Are we kneeling in this image? Like, why are we not standing up like everybody else? Left with the puzzle, one where the answer couldn't be approached using the tried and tested question. Oh no. We were presented with a poorly timed power upheaval, a tense situation where a long planned celebration was in danger. Suddenly all of us were faced with an uncertain future. Everybody benefited, yet nobody did. No one was especially fond of Callihan, but it's not like anyone seemed particularly keen on removing him from the equation, especially at this time. Except all of you. For a moment, we were sure this was the beginning of an offensive. Part of the Camarilla, we started wondering just how violent our retaliation should be. Momentarily convinced, the Anarchs were plotting to blame us for their own internal power struggles. A tense situation resolved only thanks to skillful and swift diplomacy. Oh, well, isn't that nice? I'm sure it was very swift to do as soon as you killed the guy. And only rarely misguided were our attempts. Just covering his ass. Whatever. But as exhausted as they might have been, they only served to muddle the possibilities, not explain them. Callihan had a lot of enemies, but they were the most infuriating kind of enemies one can have. Folks who barely ever thought of him anymore. No one really had a particular interest in getting rid of him because they could always simply work their way around him. That is not sort of what we were led to believe in the beginning. Before last Christmas, he even witnessed the first ever successful First Light raid against his extremely profitable blood trade supply line. A shady ability to perfectly maneuver around all SI activities gone, Callahan's decline was apparent to all, and a domino effect made his empire slowly crumble. Until recently, he'd done an admirable job keeping up with the times. So I guess it's about when things went bad with Tamika, right? Suddenly, all of the prison spotlights were on him. Depressed, downright manic recluse, lashing out at everyone, struggling and utterly failing to fit into the new reality he found himself in. A closed room, no evidence of struggle, lack of strong why done it's, corpse being found in the very early evening hours. The conclusion is simple. Callihan's final death was self-inflicted. Suicide, to put it in simple terms. And yet, as far as we know, shutters to the windows were not open. That really is the angle they'll be pushing, isn't it? There's an independent detective who first set me on this theory only last night. There's no suicide note. The message our recently departed has sent might not have necessarily been a verbal one. One peculiar thing was the position of the body. It was like an arrow pointing us at us to notice something. Last thing he saw was Lord Castlereagh II, Marquess of Londonderry, coincidentally where Callihan was born. Most, he was a reviled traitor, a heartless suppressor of all dissent, main threat against each rebellion the Irish have gone through, successful in all ways but those that matter to his tragic figure, selfish allies, always fighting for painful and unpopular compromises, written by overwork, sickness, poor public speaking skills. Not hard to see why Douglas Callihan would empathize. Shut up, Carter. Hatred from his own people and a growing paranoia led him to commit a dramatic suicide within his own four walls. I see. He let the sun embrace him. Poetic final death. I guess that makes sense. Does Angelo a plant for us? Because we only found the Angelo because of Kadir. Nobody speaks up except Prince Bernard. It's all perfectly understandable, agreeable, and most importantly, it fits the man I've come to understand over the last 2 decades. There were some irregularities in the handling of the crime scene. The Anarch leader's findings suggested Callihan's resentful playing. Folks have been real happy to see him dead, that's all I'm saying, and they went overboard with the celebrations. They've all been interrogated, though. I've received all the resulting intel. It'd be nice if I saw any of that. The depictions of Callihan's state of mind only serve. Keeper of the Elysium honors. Alright, does anyone have anything to add? Any question to ask? Time? Congrats, everyone. Congrats us. We've achieved a perfect victory. No loose ends, no rocking the boat, no nothing. Makes you want to puke. How many of them contributed to this final report? How strongly does Kadir believe the shit running from his mouth? He's always been a Camarilla loyalist. A fanatic even, but... Julia, any final statements? That's it. Now or never. If anyone can blow this perfect charade wide open, it's me. There's no coming back from this road, and it has a cost. I spent all my life and unlife on social climbing, and the sunken cost fallacy is kicking in. Challenging them here might be my only way of ever making it out of the pit I'm in. I believe this is the My time to head into the unknown, kill my ego, at least temporarily, shut up the voice of the elder screaming into my head, betray my Lasombra. Do we want to be like Benoit? Do we want to just be phoning it in? Do we want to be like Father Leonard and just, you know, put your head down, don't think about it, and just do your job? Or do we want to be like some of the people we met? Do we want to be like Tamika? Do we want to be like people who believe in things and are pushed to the fringes of society because of what they dealt with? Agathon, who may or may not be dead. Maybe all these ghosts go away and figure out something new, no matter how scary it might be. Do I dare? Or maybe I don't. I feel like there's an incredible prize to be won waiting right in front of me if I just dare to take out this revolver with its single bullet I have hidden on me. And invite everyone here for a crazy game of Russian roulette. But also I get this foreboding gangster movie feeling like this is the scene where the future mobster could have gotten out, but he didn't. In the end, did Callihan think all the splendor of the Golden Era was worth this pathetic end? Like there are two selves battling for dominance, two wolves inside me. One of them has to die, the other gets to live. It's the flip of a coin. I reflect on all the kindred I've met, lessons I've learned, choices I've made over these past few nights to make a decision. And then feeling like I'm simply following the way I conducted this investigation to its logical conclusion, I respond, actually, I do. Like the beast itself flashed in Kadir's eyes for a minute. No, you don't. But I do. Sowinski. Don't make a scene. Every one of you will really, really, really regret it if they don't listen to what I have to say. Will we now? Oh, absolutely. Don't get me wrong, Kadir has done a spectacular job of selling you a ready-made narrative to package and export to the outside world, tell to the sheriff and all that. But was this little show really necessary? Did you all really need to hype each other up to believe this fairy tale? Ooh, going in strong. What are you getting at, little girl? Easy for now, my prince. Don't tell the prince what to do. There's a different, more reasonable theory that explains everything. Everything to a T. That's great for you, sweetheart. Alright, so now we've got two people being asses to me. Do I really need to stay here and listen to it? The door's right there, but on the off chance you get implicated in something tonight, don't you want the chance to defend yourself? What are the chances of me being implicated in something tonight? Pretty sure a lot of kindred in this room are asking themselves the same question right now. In each case, my answer is the same. You won't find out unless you stay right where you are. Where was I? Let's assume that the cause of Boss Callihan's death really was suicide. Our man said, fuck everything. Open the window shutters, let the break of dawn take care of all his problems. And let's assume that he really meant to send a message using that portrait of Lord Castlereagh. Sounds dramatic, but sure, let's go with it. But it is commonly understood that Castlereagh was pushed into taking his own life as a result of conspiracy against him. Needless to say, his biggest fan wouldn't miss that detail. According to historians, the man's last words implied that some powerful people faced him with a choice, denunciation or death, which for an ambitious politician is not a choice at all. If you're claiming Callihan left us a hint, it's a troubling hint, don't you think? What are you... Enough, we're not dealing in conspiracy theories here. I mean, we literally are. And I haven't even brought up the conspiracy yet. The conspiracy theory backed by the elites is no longer called such, it's propaganda. Is there any point to the show other than digging yourself a deeper and deeper metaphorical hole? Oh, Mr. Arturo, you're still trying to tell yourself it's me who's in trouble and not you. That's adorable. No, you listen. I don't blame you for peddling propaganda. You're a politician. That's what you do. I'm just laughing at you for coming up with this shitty, poorly conceived propaganda. Was somebody gonna stop her? Or is it like, you gonna let her talk? Payne, you're the architect behind the local Camarilla's current speeches and general political narrative. To be honest, does this shit show really meet your standards? Stare into each other's eyes, unblinking, slowly feeling each other out. Eventually, with a barely audible snigger, he whispers to his servant. So I put this, I'm always open to a better pitch. That's all I wanted to hear. All I'm asking for now is a little patience. That I can spare. Oh, for goodness sakes, Addison. Come on, man. You can't possibly. Yeah. Let her cook. Let her cook. I'm going to have fun. More like I'm feeling that weird rush reminding me of the first time I managed to ride a bike. The important thing is to keep up the momentum. Focus on pedaling hard. Don't even think of falling. Thought you had it all figured out, didn't you? An improperly handled murder scene, a disposable investigator forced to blindly stumble around, hopelessly chasing loose ends. The only problem is that tonight I realized I was using the wrong tools all along. Instead of a sleuth magnifying glass, I only needed a journalist's pen. So I sat down tonight, and I wrote my first article in almost a year. 2 hours of ceaseless writing, creative juices flowing the entire time. Everything miraculously falling into place. Frankly, I think it's my masterpiece. I get carried away and jump on one of the benches. Oh, alright. You want to hear the contents? I know you're all dying to hear the content. So okay, let's hear the contents. Aisling Sturbridge, high regent at the Chantry of the Five Boroughs. Violently splitting with her student after he discovered her plans for horrifying experiments with blood magic? Her target, Baron Callihan. Said student, conveniently missing. We've got an exclusive source to Agathon the Warlock's personal diary. Extra. Read all about it. She's trying to hide she's nervous. She's practically. I should be the one shaking. I'm piecing together what little solid or relatively solid intel I have, gluing it together into something coherent with educated assumptions and pure conjecture. But at least I'm fairly sure she recognizes me as a threat now. Just what I was hoping for. Next up. Is it true Torque, the brave Anarch Baron, primed to be the next de facto leader of the sect in the NYC, might have been manipulating his entire faction to secure the position? This appeasement candidate convinced his key allies that a revolution is not an option at the moment, appearing as a reasonable alternative to bloodthirsty rivals. His ace in the hole was a strangely efficient ability to establish diplomatic channels with the Camarilla, which he then used to gain a series of small concessions from the NYC court. Could it be Prince Panard, having realized that her longtime collaborator, Baron Callihan, was just an undesirable asset? Found a different, more 2020 candidate to be the leader of the Anarchs. Extra. Read all about it. We're really doing them. We're really giving them a good stump of a speech here at the end. Silence. This one's not shaking. He's just angry. And this one just seems confused. Oh, poor baby boy. What about the fact Torque, Helene Panard, Tarmus Arturo Carter Vanderweyden, and Aisling Sturbridge were all summoned to Callihan's office right before his death. To be the so-called boss employed some final desperate measures to stop his downward spiral into irrelevance, at which point a rushed plan to bring on his demise was executed. Could it be that Kaiser, the legendary New York City info broker striking deals left and right with both the Camarilla and the Anarchs, wiretapped Callihan's office to eavesdrop on those negotiations? Extra. Tell about it. Cut the atmosphere here with a knife, and it's only getting worse. For them, at least, I feel better than I felt in years. In fact, nobody is protesting probably means I'm hitting the nail on the head. Could it be, for the entire 21st century, the conflict between the New York City Camarilla and the Anarchs was a sham? What if the Second Inquisition's operations in the city were consulted with the leaders of the two sects? How deep does the rot of corruption go? And what about Sophie Langley's disappearance? Attempts on the unlives of would-be members of a coterie she attempted to set up alongside her ward last year? Could all of these things be connected? And that's just a tip of the iceberg. Stay tuned, dear readers. Heavy silence befalls the room. When it becomes too overbearing, Kadir breaks it by hawking loudly. His poker face is indecipherable. And where, pray tell, can one read all about it tomorrow? 10 different places. Among them, of course, a report received by Clan Lasombra's elders in Chicago, constantly mixing truths with lies. I do know some facts. I did write something. All in all, it's a confidence grift, plain and simple. Have you sent it out already? No. And Father Leonard is not the channel I used to reach Chicago, in case you were wondering. I took every possible precaution, the way you taught me, dear. I know this hurts him, but I can't show a single weakness right now. This is ridiculous. I might be bluffing. No, she knows, Thomas. Aisling, how can you be certain? I just am. That diary probably saved my ass. Thank you, Agathon. I guess. Even if I was bluffing, it's all about the optics. You nominate a special investigator. Then the moment she presents her findings, you do what? Subjugate her? Get rid of her? How do you get out of this? I get it. You gave me that role, that title, because you were counting on me remaining the same shitty, useless nobody I was ever since I started working for the court. But funny how that works, isn't it? A week ago, nobody would give a shit about what I have to say. Now, I'm a grave threat to this entire Illuminati New World Order arrangement you've got going on. Maintain you can't possibly know and prove all the claims you've listed. There's just no way. I know. I checked. I double-checked. First off, stop bullshitting me. You don't know that for sure. Secondly, even if you're right, so what? I've got leverage now. Because of my journalistic past, you gave me a detective title that wasn't worth a rat's ass in doing detective work. But ironically, it gave me the opportunity to do the best reporting I've ever done. And here's the thing. It doesn't even matter if it contains more facts than your official narrative. And you know why? Because the story I offer makes infinitely more sense. Morally. Emotionally. Metaphysically. However you name it. It's far hotter commodity than the low rent bullshit you peddle. People nowadays buy into barely coherent crap like 5G and QAnon. Once I get a hold of my perfectly logical story, and so you don't really have anything to counter it, you'll be fucked. The very fact none of you have denied any of my allegations yet speaks volumes, doesn't it? Prince is absolutely furious. He's not in charge. Visibly scrambling to figure out some counteroffensive. Hi, Isabella. How are you doing? Why would anybody listen to us? Good point. You made that story of yours sound completely unrespectable, like tabloid garbage. Tabloid would be fine. This means it would reach more folks. What? What do you want? Ooh. Now we're talking. A primogen position for Clan Lasombra, and a number of privileges befitting the title. We can negotiate the details, but a nice apartment in downtown Manhattan is a must. Dreaming big, are we? What could you even bring to the fold as a primogen? I turned away from her to speak to the manager. Mr. Payne. Yes? As you can see, we've all found ourselves in quite a mess here. Indeed, to say the least. If I find us a way out, will you form a professional relationship with me and back the decision to make me primogen? The figure in the wheelchair lets out a sarcastic laugh, sounding like the final wheeze of a dying man. You really are swinging for the fences, aren't you, child? I'm not suicidal most of the time. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't have my sights set sky high. I understand. So, how do you propose we solve this little predicament? Easy. We give the masses an even better story than the one I just suggested, one that benefits nearly all the parties in this room. Alright then, thanks to your moxie, you've secured yourself my tentative support, child. Let's hear it. Thank you very much. Okay then. During my investigation, I recovered some interesting intel about a certain individual. Praise be to Kaiser's abandoned limousine. That individual would definitely prefer his behind-the-scenes dealings to remain unknown. For the last 20 years, he's been an on and off mediator between the different parties in the city. He prides himself on his diplomatic skills. Interestingly enough, though, one of his main motivations was selling intel about both the Camarilla and the Anarchs to any party that might be interested. Usually that meant Kaiser. With a reasonable degree of certainty, he can be held responsible for a few recent failed Camarilla operations that weakened Helene Panhard's position. He dreams of being a prince, you see. I can already see him awkwardly shifting his weight. Recently, he obtained control over an IT company called Double Spiral, which he uses to influence NYC kind in the ways that further his agenda and weaken his political enemies. He also operates the most powerful law firm in the city. He uses both of these tools so that he can manipulate the mortals to slowly tie a noose around the Anarch leaders and court members who he wants gone. I'm talking, of course, about Carter Vanderweyden. In a split second, all eyes in the room are set on him. Whatever she throws at me, I'm sure I can explain. I throw a file I recovered from Kaiser's limo at the bench. Are you sure? Because there's a hell of a lot to explain. Addison's servant picks up the file so that his master can browse through it. If that's not enough, I'm sure Double Spiral will be happy to deliver us more. So of all the things you said the other night were a steaming pile of bullshit, Carter. Gotta see him with friends. There's a good explanation for every single thing that's listed there. I swear on my father's. Even if there is, I doubt you can justify allowing a girl who's little more than a fledgling ripping your credibility to shreds in a matter of seconds. Proving yourself as something infinitely worse than a traitor, Carter. You're a weak traitor. Thomas, Aline. Don't speak to me, you bastard. That was the last element of my strategy. I hope they won't throw any curveballs my way, because from now on, it's all pure improv, baby. 2 minutes ago, I was the #1 enemy of everyone in the room. Now I'm their unexpected ally. Revealing a common foe that some people in this room have wanted to nail since forever. All I'm saying is we've got ourselves a perfect scapegoat to pin everything on. Shady dealings between both sects, all the real conspiracies he was involved in, impossibly perfect looks in history. The schadenfreude accompanying his fall will be enough to keep some kindred in the city happy for years. He shoots me a demented look, one I assume is typically reserved for future strangling victims. You can't do this to me. And why is that? You're incompetent. And that's the best you can do? Seriously? You can come with me without struggle or in torpor. As usual, it's 3 strikes with me, then you're gone. Claudia knows. He ducks a lot but puts up minimal resistance. Kadir drags him out of the room, and that's the last I ever see of him. For a good minute, everyone just stands there, confused. Then Addison begins to clap. Bravo, Miss Sowinski. I haven't seen such an adventurous power play in years. Maybe your generation is not all lost after all. Does that mean I can count on your support? Of course. As far as I'm concerned, you're the kind of ruthless primogen the city needs. Especially now when one seat will probably be made vacant. What do you say, my prince? Bernard recoils a little when she hears me refer to her in such an official manner. My relationship with Addison is a decades-long conflict. And by now, I know which hills I'm willing to die on. This is not one of them. Rejoice, girl. You're going to get what you want, as well as deserve. We do have one important condition, though. Of course you do. Mr. Brains, I'm sure you'll agree, being primogen is an important representative position. It demands nothing but a display of impeccable respect for the masquerade and the tradition. Of course. It is my concern that it wouldn't be proper for us to be represented by someone who openly violated the rules of kindred society. Of course, that wouldn't do it all. They'd have to openly renounce their old ways at the very least. Indeed, and I think that in the case of Miss Sowinski, who has lived with a mortal under a single roof for a long time, the best course of action would be to renounce her and give her up to our sheriff. That kind of gesture would prove the new primogen's dedication to the court beyond any reasonable doubt. Yes, I definitely agree. Her ambition and pride are admirable, but it would be prudent of us to demand a display of humility as well. My thoughts exactly. Well then. Your answer, miss? What's so funny, Miss Sowinski? See it in your eyes, Arturo, you naive fool. Think you're so clever. You think I would have gotten this far if I didn't think it all through? There's only one response. I agree. Do what you must. He's speechless. Thought he had me pinned, and I simply responded with a checkmate. Guess that solves our problem. Let's head out for now. It's been an exhausting evening, and dawn is nearing. Yes, let's do that. Looks unstrung and defeated. Soon after Kadir was ordered to take care of Koda, he asked me if I wanted to know what was done to her. My reply was honest. Not really interested. No. Said I'd gotten myself into a terrible game, the rules of which defied comprehension. I replied, if I'm winning and climbing upward, I must be doing something right. Still, we don't talk too much these days beyond professional interaction. I have a much bigger world to think about now, one that fills me with happiness. Come to think of it, my current state reminds me of those few halcyon days right after my embrace. It might not last, but at this point I have to ask myself, what does? It's always about the next bigger rush. I'm writing speeches and official communications for the NYC Camarilla these days, helping out Payne from time to time too. Funny, I've never felt more accomplished, more fulfilled as a journalist than I am now. Kieran is visiting in a few days to congratulate me on the behalf of the entire Chicago-based clan. Apparently, I've not only met her expectations, but exceeded them. She keeps bragging to everyone about how great her eye was in picking me. It's only these shadows that keep getting to me. I notice them everywhere these nights, and there are more and more of them surrounding me as time goes on. But it doesn't matter. I like to think they are being cast, because my future looks so bright. That's the game. Oy. So we really turned out to be the monster in the end. Really kind of escalated very quickly there at the end. Very interesting. All right. Well, what did you guys think? It was fun. It's an interesting game. It felt like it really ramped up there at the end and then was really slow in the beginning. It really had sort of like a logarithmic kind of curve to it. I felt like it was like slow, then woo! A whole bunch really happened at the end. So I feel like pacing could have maybe been a little bit better in the game. Not terrible, but like it could have been good. It felt like the church stuff was pretty superfluous for the most part. I think we missed some stuff. Like I think that the girl we found in the smallpox hospital is probably the missing person who tried to set up their own clan or their own coterie. I'm pretty sure that was probably her. We never found out whether Agathon was alive or dead. So there were some missteps. There were some things we did this way, things we did that way that could have been helpful one or the other way. I really didn't think we were going to pull that out at the end, honestly. I really thought we just kind of had us dead to rights. But I guess that was kind of the whole... That was sort of like, in the end, the whole kind of thing, wasn't it? I guess that was really what we took out of the game. It's like, that was sort of the clincher for us, is that, hey, because we have a background as a journalist, rather than a detective, that we were able to turn that into something else. So very interesting. By the way, we got the good ending. We achieved victory. Which is apparently, I think, the more rare ending. I'm going to look at the other. Yeah, in fact, it looks like most people get the bad ending. A lot more get the bad and good ending. So we did something right. I think that maybe that comes from my background playing Vampire the Masquerade. Is like, that's kind of supposed to be the thing. Is like you lose your humanity as you become more and more of a vampire. So, right, remember at the beginning it was like, oh, well, I needed... we really didn't want to feed on anybody, and then by the time we got to finding what's-her-face in the smallpox hospital, where she was like, oh, well, I gotta feed anyways, might as well feed on this person. And then being like, oh, right, it's probably a kindred, so I probably can't feed on them. So it was this, like, you see this slow change in her as Julia becomes more and more frustrated with the situation that she's in, and the more sort of walls that get put in her way, that the only way to break through that is by feeding more of the beast, the hunger, and using that. There are still some weird things, like Kaiser's an old vampire. It really doesn't make sense that we could just literally curb stomp him in a fight in the street. Like, that seems weird. The Kaiser thing's totally unresolved still. That's who I thought we were gonna frame it on. We were all gonna frame it on Kaiser. Then we went with Carter Vanderweyden, which is fine. I really kind of expected some of the people we talked to make kind of an appearance at the end, like you would do in like a normal murder mystery, where you have some people show up at the end who like give their testimony or stuff like that, or have some evidence from them or written testimonies or something. But we didn't have any of that. Really doing the stuff with Mika and the ring had no bearing on anything with Torque, I guess. And then there was the Mia girl who was sort of gatekeeping us from Torque, who none of that mattered at all, it seemed like. And then it was really kind of frustrating to have D'Angelo kind of come in at the end and just do the detective work, and then open a safe that didn't have anything in it. And I'm like, is there another way that we could have opened that earlier and found something in it? Because it seems like the way they phrased it made it seem like somebody had been in there and manipulated it and taken stuff out of it. Or that was just supposed to be another piece of evidence that we could have relied on that we didn't need to. Like, hey, clearly somebody took something out of here. There's nothing worthwhile in here that's worth being locked up. So anything that was in here was already taken. I don't know. Very interesting. Fun game. We might do something like this again. We'll probably play a different game. I don't know what we'll play next. I haven't got a clue. Visual novels are nice and easy because they're, except honestly on my throat a little bit. It's quite a bit of talking. Trying to do a little bit more performative voice. I don't know. We'll figure out something to play for some of these other sort of midweek streams. But I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up because we don't really have anything else to talk about. This is a fun one. They've made a number of these games, so there are some other ones I could maybe grab and play. I don't think I have any of the other ones. Look real quick. My Steam up. Let's see. Fire. Give me Vampire. No, I've got the old Bloodlines game. Not the new one, not the remake, which apparently is not super great. Got the old one. But they've made a whole bunch of these games. And they've got one or two werewolf ones too. And honestly, when it comes to World of Darkness, I prefer playing werewolf, I feel like, more than vampire. Just because the tone's a little bit different, and I don't know, I find the combat to be a little bit more fun. Maybe that's just me specifically. Okay, vampire. Yeah. Here. Hey. Let's see. In here, what all we got? Bloodlines 2. Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song. Yeah, interesting. Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt. That's a battle royale. Interesting. Night Road. Oh, that's a text-based one. Heartless Lullaby. Yeah, it looks like they have a number of these. Coteries of New York. So Coteries of New York is actually the one before the one we just played. It's an independent, like, expansion on it, apparently. I'm guessing that would give us... Yeah, I'm looking at it real quick. Yeah, we've got a lot of these saying recurring NPCs. So I think we would find out what happened to some of those people in the beginning. Yeah, so we would find out more about what happened to the 4. Interesting. Yeah, we've got Hope in here. Angelo. Kaiser. And Stranger, who is also obviously Kadir. I'm looking at the photo. And then there is Reckoning of New York. It looks like it might be set earlier, I think. At least from this, it looks like somebody has like a tape deck Walkman. No, they're not dressed like... Good. Oh no, it's 2024. Very interesting. I might pick up some of those. Maybe not. Who knows? I'll have to figure out something. I'm sure at some point will along the way, but yeah, that'll be everything for the stream. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. As always, it's fun. I'm glad we finally got through it. I figured we might finish it today. I wasn't sure if we were close enough quite to finish it, but yeah, turns out we were. Not too big of a surprise there. So we'll figure out something to do next time. If you want to catch our Saturday stream, we'll plan to be streaming on Saturday as I usually do. So here in about less than 48 hours, we'll do another stream. If you're watching on YouTube, that's over at the Red Racket Team channel, like I said up top. And we'll do something D&D related, Dungeons & Dragons related. I think, what are we going to do this time? I think maybe we're going to continue working on the solo stuff. I'm setting up some information for a new solo game, so I think we're going to do that. So I think that's what our plan will be. So I'm going to jump in and do that. But yeah, so if you want to join us, do that. If you want to see some of the other stuff that we've done, like this would be probably the second stream that we've done about that. So if you want to catch the first one, that's over on YouTube. Red Ragged Feed. Other stuff, pay what you want stuff. All that stuff's down in the description, so we don't need to go over it. But thanks for hanging out with me and checking out the channel. Give us a follow, give us a subscribe, likes, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. All right? Bye.